Duchy Tweed Mills was opened by J.H. Blamey in the 1880s. His grand house up the hillside towards Liskeard at Pencubbit still stands, and the purpose of the little tower built onto it was reputedly for Mr. Blamey to keep an ever-watchful eye on his factory in the valley below. The mill harnessed the flow of the river for its power, supplemented by a steam engine, and processed local wool, turning it into blankets and clothing.
I started working here roughly about 1965, and I've done 24 years working here. The original site was called the Duchy Tweed Mill, and it was built somewhere about 1886, and it went through 2 world wars, making blankets and stuff for the army. But in my time, when I started here, there was 2 sides to the factory. This side was a 3-story building like an old mill you'd see up in Yorkshire. That side was a 1 level going right on down, and this side there was 3 floors and cellars underneath, and on the bottom floor was 2 wash bowls and machinery. So basically, when a buyer bought some wool and he wanted it scoured, which means washing the wool, they would take the bales up to the top floor. A man would open the bale up, cut the cords and unravel the fleece. He would throw it down the trap hatch to the 2nd floor. 2 men would have a big machine and they would put it through, and it used to rip the wool right up to pieces. It then was put down a chute to the bottom floor, and it came down the chute into the big long wash bowl, which was roughly, I suppose, more or less the length of the factory this way and 1 going that way, 2 wash bowls. And the wool came down the chute into hot water. The wash bowl was quite wide, probably 10 foot wide, and the water was warm, and there was soda and industrial soap in the water, and it went through 1 section and then up through some rollers, and the water squeezed out, then into another section. So basically it went right through the whole length, being pushed through, washed, and the water squeezed out. When it got to the other end, it was put through a giant dryer, and it went through on shelves slowly, and this dried the wool. When it came to the top of the dryer, it came in a big chute across the top of the scour shop floor, which is the bottom floor, and then ended in a big pile, massive pile of wool. And this time it was white like snow. And then it was packed into bales, and that's what they call scoured, a scoured wool. So basically that's what happened up in that section, but also in the cellars beneath and the floors were hundreds of bales stacked up, ready to either go in the raw state to Bradford or be scoured. The second part, going down this way, was a big long shed with 2 doorways with skilled graders. The farmers used to bring the fleeces in, or lorries would bring in big sheets of wool, and the graders had to sort the fleeces. There was about, Liskeard deal with about 100 different grades because of the moors, so they could bring down Scotch and Welsh fleeces and stuff from Yorkshire would live on our moors. So this is how they had so many different grades. The graders graded it by length, colour, dirtiness, all kinds of things really. That's how it was graded. So if we say we just take 1 grade, a Devon 1, the grader would say that's a Devon 1 fleece, and he would throw it into the skip behind, and that's a Devon 2 into that skip. When the skip was full, a man would push it away and put it onto the weighing scales, and the weight would come up. We'll say back in the old days, 500 pound. That would be wrote down on the farmer's list as 500 pound of Devon number 1s. And so the old clip would be weighed in like that. They would then, the farmer used to get his cheque within a couple of days. That would be sent off to the British Woolmarketing Board, and each grade was a different price, but they would tot it up there, and then the farmer would get his cheque sent to him direct. So basically that's the workings. But before 1960 it was actually run by Blamey and Morecambe's. They owned lots of things in the town, coal yards, farm machinery. all kinds of businesses. But in about 1961, it was took over by Devon and Cornwall Wools, what it's called now, and they are subcontractors for the British Wool Marketing Board. If a farmer has got 1 to 5 fleeces, he hasn't got a register. He can do what he likes with them. He can throw them over the edge, burn them, and give them to a neighbour. But once he's got more than 5 fleeces, he's got to register with the British Wool Marketing Board and bring his wool in to be graded and get whatever price is being paid that season.